guy, like I said, he really needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. Russell Bigtyme Washington, you know what I'm saying, CEO of Bigtyme Recodz. How you doing, Russell?
Hey, I'm doing fine. How are y'all?
Man, just honored and privileged to be able to interview you, man, because as a kid, I used to you know, get the mail order CDs from you all the time. You know what I'm saying? And the music that you guys put out, I mean, you were rivaling what the majors were doing, and you were doing it independently. So props to you for what you guys did. When did Bigtyme Recodz first start?
Well, the idea started in 1991, but we released our first record in February of 1992, which was UGK The Southern Way.
And that was the first UGK project, no?
Yeah, that was the first UGK project, 6-song EP.
And it had all kinds of hits on there, and then of course they went on to put out you know what I'm saying, their first album with Jive and with you as well. But you also had, you know, Point Blank, DJ Screw,
yeah.
PSK-13, 20 to Life. When did Blank first hook up with you?
Blank hooked up with us, I would say during the time we was recording the UGK, me and Buck went by and met with Dopey of the Terrorists to try and see about getting a track. And that's when I heard some of Blank's. Blank gave me a demo, and I just kept it. And Blank basically gave me a completed album. All I had to do was go back and pay all the producers. And it was the same exact album that he put out, Prone to Bad Dreams. Prone to Bad Dreams,
which was a classic,
yeah.
Because that had to be the first album cover where there was a rapper who's depicting himself killing himself, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He stood over the chair while he was sleeping, about to shoot himself in the head, man. Did he come to you with that cover too, or is that something that you guys created later on? Or?
No, I think that was all Blank's idea, because at the time I started, it was basically a one-man staff, so it was whoever I was working with, I just took them along with me every step of the way. So the first two projects basically all was the artist's input with me.
Yeah.
And we took the picture, the same photographer that took the first UGK picture for me, he took Blank's pictures, and the little graphics guy we was using at the time, he just put it together for Blank just like that, and we rolled with it.
And it was amazing because, you know, I first found out about Blank, you know, the Terrorist album. You know, he was on the Posse track, he was on another track. And then I found out about you guys, you know, a year or so later, and I watched the progression of Bigtyme Recodz. I mean, you guys started dropping tapes. You know, back then it was tapes too and CDs, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger, man. What was it like when you know, you started to really blow up? At what point was it, and how did that make you feel, knowing that your record label was so successful independently with no major backing you?
It was kind of like it's kind of like love-hate, you know what I'm saying? Because it went so fast with the UGK. You know, it took a year to do the record, but it was only 2 months before we signed. After we dropped the record, and then for us to go through that little dispute. Every day after that, it just became just like a mission to work to prove to them that we could do better without them. You know what I'm saying? So we worked. I mean, if it was a labor pool, they would have definitely had me in trouble, because we worked hours. We would spend the night in the office, drive back from Atlanta, go straight to the office. It's many a days we didn't sleep. We just would go where we had to go, come back, and we go straight to work. And, you know, and we did all right regionally on those next few projects, but it wasn't until we dropped All Screwed Up that we started back to get another buzz.
That was a fucking classic, and was that the first? That was the first DJ Screw project on Bigtyme Recodz, right?
Yeah, it sure was. At the time, I was kind of trying to emulate what Master P would do. I noticed that he would drop a lot of records. So even if I didn't have records that would sell a lot, but if I dropped enough and I was feeding the fan base that was buying big time stuff, then we would always have constant revenue turning. You know, so if you got the camp and everybody can still make, you know, a decent living, you can kind of keep some of the confusion down.
Yeah.
And when I had approached Screw about, I was like, hey, I'm in between records. I don't have nothing I'm recording, but I want to do a Screw mix with some of my songs. And he was ecstatic. They was happy to do it, and we did it. And I mean, I always remember the response between the camp was like, I don't know, man. I don't think this gonna go. And I was like, man, I think this gonna be good. And man, it good for us.
Yeah, it did, man. It influenced so much, and it sold so many units, I imagine, too. I mean, you were shipping packages all over the world, weren't you?
Yeah. Actually, we had a guy that came in who was McNice, who became my vice president in later years. That was how he got the job. We had so many orders to fill, and it wasn't even web orders. It was mainly just people would try to slip out of the CDs or the cassettes they would buy and order the other stuff, and me and Eddie just couldn't do it. So we was like, man, let's get this dude in and let him do that all day. And it made it better because McNice was real good at, you know, fulfilling the orders.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Reckless Clan CDs, too.
Yeah, Reckless Clan. See, I still ask, you know, I think I asked PSK-13 when I interviewed him, if they're going to do another one, man, because that album, to me, it came out in 96. Yeah. To me, that was one of the best projects in 96, hands down.
It didn't get as much love, but I was actually just riding to Reckless Clan and stuff. I was like, you know what, man, we had some good stuff, and I think at the time, I think PSK was really coming into his own at that time, and I think if they would have did another record as a group, it could have definitely been something special for them.
Yeah, because they had, I mean, they all three of them gelled together perfectly. Every song was on point, you know. Definitely want to see another Reckless Clan album. But let's move back now. You got Point Blank and you got UGK. At what point in time did UGK go to Jive, and how did that affect Bigtyme Recodz at the time?
Oh, it was devastating. When you think about your first 2.5 years of work, and then when it comes down to it, you lose every contact, every radio person, because they know that the group is having beef with you. So you don't have that. You know, your main artist is your leeway in for your next artist. If you say, hey, you want UGK at the show, hey, come on, let Blank run through, open it up. You know, once you lose that feature artist, all those people stop calling. So it definitely was hard work to get back, going with it. But, I'm just thinking that we always have met. We was lucky to meet good people that wanted to work hard and, build something.
Yeah. So
we was able to hang around a lot. I think we probably should have hung in there a few more years. It's a tough business, and it requires, I think, anything you do, you have to love it. If you're not loving it when you're doing it, if you're just working for a check, you're never going to give your best performance.
No, not at all, man. Could you give us some early memories of like Pimp-C and Bun-B? When and how did you meet them guys, them being from Port Arthur?
Well, it started, of course, I was jamming rap a lot. I owned a record store in the flea market, which I still have today. And I just was, jamming rap a lot stuff, the first Ghetto Boys, and I was always like, oh, man. And then one day I met Ronnie Bookman and K. Reno and Murder One and them. They came in with the COD record. And I was like, man, they did a record. I said, I want to do a record. And I remember telling my wife at the time, I said, as soon as I save up enough money, I'm going to put up a sign saying I want to do a record. And I remember we put up the sign on one day, and next thing I know, my wife is calling me, telling me these dudes came in, and they sound good, and I got their demo. And I remember when I listened to it, I was 100% a believer. And first demo was UGK. So we basically just
That's amazing. That was amazing.
It was just lucky.
What was the songs that were on there?
Tell Me Something Good, the different version. It was a different version that they had wrote back then. Use Me Up was on there, some other stuff. I mean, honestly, man, I think if we could have took that first demo and just been able to record it exactly like it was, it would have been the same effect, man. I think sometimes being in music, you can listen to anybody's record, and you always can just hear something. You know, no matter if it's 13 tracks, that's nothing. It's going to be one on there that's something, but when I got their demo, every song meant something to me. You know, it felt good, and so I was down. And we started doing it, and, you know, the only thing was none of us had ever been in the studio, so we had a few bumps in the road, but at the end of the day, we put out the best project we could at the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
And we were blessed. We was blessed. It kind of gave us it gave me the wrong impression of how you do it, because I was blessed that Pimp made all the tracks. He was the music coordinator, you know, so it wasn't until like my third project before I really had to go and, you know, start putting the pre-production stuff together and all that. So I was 3 albums in on Bigtyme before I actually went through the real process.
And you know, what was crazy about it too is when you would open up a Bigtyme Recodz CD, you would feature cats from other labels. Like I remember seeing Born Twice and, you know, Kazi D, different cats in there. You know what I'm saying? I always thought that was cool that you would cross-promote with them cats. You know? Yeah,
I mean,
a lot of people
I always looked at, see, you know, I always had the philosophy, man, you're not in competition with somebody in music. If you look at it, the chart has 200 on the mainstream chart, right? It had on the rap and R&B, it has 100. But if you think about it, it might be 1 million records out there. So every person that likes Kazi, if we got a dude on there and he shows what he's supposed to show, they're gonna like him. You know, so that was one thing I always learned, that, and really the idea of selling products in the inside the inserts, that was something I saw from Luke. Because when you would open up a Luke CD or a cassette, he was selling everything in there, shoes, socks. I mean, so I'm like, so if the people like him, you want to order. So if you like one thing, you're gonna order something else. If you don't have all the CDs and you can't find it in your area, you know you can send me that slip, and I'm gonna send them back to your door. So it was, you know, I just rolled with it, and I had no problem putting somebody that I liked. If I liked their music, or, you know, they were cool with the camp, I would put their stuff in there. It didn't matter to me, because I didn't look at anybody as a competitor.
You would respond. I remember sending off, ordering some stuff. You would always send people, you know, well, at least me, I can vouch for it because I got the package. You would put extra stuff in there. I remember one time you sent me a bunch of autographed pictures from everybody. You know, I posted some of that on the wall. But, I mean, you know, you guys always showed a level of humbleness that a lot of other cats in the rap game didn't have. You know what I'm saying? So I salute you for that as well. At what point in time did you get 20 to Life on Bigtyme Recodz?
We got 20 to Life during the first album, Inside Looking Out. I don't remember how the meeting happened, but Black, once again, he had came to me. I was just supposed to be like, they was like associates. They weren't actually on the label. They were like, they would handle their own project. We would just do some of the marketing for them. And we just always worked our relationship like that.
Yeah, because they had Inmate Records as well, I believe.
Yeah, they had Inmate Records and Bigtyme, and we would do stuff together. You know, we had certain things we did together, like me and Black recorded the Gulf Coast compilation together, and it just I put it on Inmate because at the time I had signed with Priority, so I couldn't put out a record on my own, so I just did everything.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, we all worked together for all those years. It was like, you know, that was another thing that was tough for me when I decided I wasn't going to do music. You know, you got to think about it. These are the only associates / friends, homeboys that I had for the 15 years. And when I decided that I couldn't do it no more. It was kind of, I went through a lot of years of kind of just being like in a different place.
Yeah. Well, at what point in time, Russell, did you say, you know what, I'm not going to be putting out records no more?
It was kind of like, I think it was like maybe, for me, it was like maybe 2000. And at the time, Robert from Southwest kind of kept me in a little longer because he wanted me to, the last Point Blank PSK and Ice Lord, I really had no, I didn't do anything but let him fly under the flag, you know, but Robert was like, you know, I need you to oversee it. So I just had to do that for him. And that kept me in another year or two. And then when Southwest closed, I kind of, I got the itch a little bit, and we was trying to bring out a group called the Bigtyme Boys, and we spent another about 18, 19 months with them, and then I just told McNice that, hey, man, I'm going to give y'all a year, find something y'all want to do. I just couldn't do it no more.
Yeah,
because I kind of had lost that fly. I didn't want to go on the road anymore. Huh?
Yeah. I said, you just kind of got like burnt out of it, or?
Yeah, man. I think I'm kind of a guy. I mean, you can count on probably one hand how many interviews I granted. I don't really go to clubs. I'm kind of like I don't know. I'm not really a reader, but I kind of study stuff. You know, I sit around the house and I'll glance through a book and, you know, just write down some notes and think about some things I want to do. But for me, it was just, I just couldn't do it no more. I couldn't go on the road. I just didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. And the hard part for me was pretty much the side was the artist. It was like, you know, you spend that much time with somebody, and at the end of the day, you know, I think that my kids should know Bun's kids or Pimp's kids. You know, my kids should know Blank's kids, and it's not like that. You know, this is 15 years of relationships. And at the end of the day, when it wasn't business for me, I'm always going to be able to tell people. I never kept it business. It's like that. You know, my ex-wife always tells me, you're too nice, you shouldn't have kids. It's business. But it's not business when you eat, drink, and sleep with somebody. You know, if I'm on the road with you and before the good times, we all in one hotel room, we in a van crunched up, it's not business because we all fighting that journey together. So at the end of the day, I'm going to feel like these are my boys. When I had a problem, these are my boys. And even like before Pimp passed, Pimp had started reaching out to me. Me and Pimp had really started back talking. So it was like, you know, my phone, I get a text 5 o'clock in the morning, you up? I'm like, yeah, always, you know. Then my phone rang, we just chopping it up. So I think even it's like that with any of them once we all just talking. I mean, you can look at my Facebook page, me, Black, PSK, we all crack jokes all day, every day. You know, it's friendship, but it's hard when you're the beginning and the end. You know, it's like I've had Blank and PSK come back at the end and tell me, you know, man, we don't know how you did it, you know, because it's hard when they try to do their own labels. It's a battle, man.
Yeah,
and then you're fighting to get your money, and you know, you get a guy going, then everybody want to steal him. I just had enough of that, man. And then I just tried some different things, and you know, at the end of the day, the best job I could ever have is just being a parent. That's what I do now. I got 3 kids, and I'm trying to do it.
Hey, I salute you. That's exactly the way I feel. I recently, you know what I'm saying, was in a, you know what I'm saying, partnership, businessship, friendship, camaraderie with a dude for almost 15 years myself, and it just recently ended, you know what I'm saying, because we was going in different directions or whatnot, you know, and I feel you, man, 100%, you know, at the end of the day, you got to, you know, you put your heart and soul into this music business, you know, and sometimes, you know, there's a lot of people that you come in contact with that you want to stay in contact with. Like you said, your kids should know their kids and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, you know, it happens to all of us, man. It definitely does. But looking back, though, at the legacy of Bigtyme Recodz, man, you gotta be proud. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know what I'm saying, you were the first label to put out UGK, the first label to really introduce Screw to a lot of people, you know, outside of Texas. I mean, that has to make you feel pretty good at the end of the day, no?
It does, man. It makes me feel real good. The parts that bother me is when people try to rewrite what really happened. That bothers me when they say, oh, Screw was selling so many tapes he blew up from his house. But did they leave out the part that a staff of 8 people worked day and night for 2 straight years saying DJ Screw, thousands, maybe 100,000 black and white posters, maybe 10, 11 rap page ads. Those are nationwide ads. You know, it's like thousands of snippets, man. It's like, did they forget that part? Did you forget that Bigtyme Recodz? When I met Screw and I'm not knocking nobody, I'm not saying that. When I met Screw, he didn't have a car. No. So he knew me 3 months he was driving. You know, I know how many tapes he was selling before he met me. I know how many tapes he was selling after he met me. And I know if he would have did the things I told him to do, you know, earlier in the game, I know what he could have been. I still think Screw never did his best work, man. Screw was one of the most talented people that I have ever met. Screw, Pimp, man, that talent just, you could see it if you're in the lab with him. It's just, you got to think this guy made these records, and if you listen closely to those records, what you hear underneath. And I remember talking to Screw, and he said, I make a mix. I'm trying to make it tell a story. I'm trying to make the mix say the words that I want it to say. And every time you listen to those 3 in the mornings or the All Screwed Up, if you think about it as you listen to it, you think how it builds. And by the time it gets to the end, you really going crazy because you can actually feel the buildup of the record. If you just listen, it start off slow and then it starts to build and build, but by the end, you really enjoyed the product you listened to. So I still don't think Screw. I just wish we could have really saw what he could have really done, because I know he was trying to get into playing the production side. I mean, I definitely think he had a lot more to offer.
Oh yeah, definitely took it way too soon, and he definitely left a huge impact on the game. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he left the whole genre of music for people to emulate or make money off of. You know, whatever they do. Yeah. So, you know,
and he probably made a bunch of people a lot of money, because you got to think of all those underground tapes that people just dubbed and sold on their own, and I mean, and there's so many of them, and you can always find some jams in there. Screw was all the above ground records are damn, they great to me. You know, I think a lot of the undergrounds, I mean, that's all classic stuff, man. Some of those flows and everything, that's eternal, man. That's gonna last. Our kids gonna be jamming that stuff, man.
Now, Blank, hell of a talented rapper, 20 to life, of course, UGK. I think one of the most underrated rappers has to be PSK-13. That dude is just a flame spitter. Man, how did you hook up with him? And what was
PSK
what was the early days like?
From Blank. I think he was real raw when Blank met him. You have to give Blank the credit for PSK, because Blank saw the talent in PSK. You know, PSK, you know, he's that dude you got to think, cause it was like he was the hype man, and he was like, you know, Blank was always pulling for him to get signed, and I ain't gonna lie, I didn't hear it, but I definitely was there to witness the growth. Yeah. And if you listen to the later stuff, he definitely was spitting fire. I mean, those verses was good. He was definitely knocking it out. And I think he had came into his own. I think PSK could have did a lot more too if he would have just. But you know, you got to be a father first, and I think that slowed him up a little more in the end.
Yeah, definitely. Dude is multi-talented rapper. You know what I'm saying? And I look forward to hearing music from him, you know, Blank, and what about Ice Lord? Is he still around making music?
I don't know, man. I ain't gonna lie, I have not talked to Ice Lord in years. I'm sure Blank maybe has. One last thing I heard, I think he was driving trucks or something. But you know, Ice Lord too, man. Ice Lord and Blank and PSK, man, they should just really sit down and maybe. You know, we all a little older now, but maybe just sit down and say, man, let's do this record. Just if it, you know, just for our own sake, and see what they can pull out of there.
Yeah, Yeah, shit, and do it for us, man. Do it for the kids that bought those records that grew up that are in their mid-30s. Because I still want to see that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I still want to see that shit.
I think it would definitely be good. I mean, I know that you still have the talent. I just think as you get older and, you know, you got other things you're doing, like many of the local little regional acts, you know, the guys work and they, you know, they got kids and, man, that sucks up a ton of your time.
Oh, of course. And
I learned that when I finally settled down and was trying to put more input with my kids, and, man, it sucks up a lot of time.
Oh, yeah. And that's why we do this show, though, too, is to pay homage, you know what I'm saying, to the legends and the pioneers. And, you know, later on we're going to have Sir Jukebox. I think that's probably his first interview in I don't know how many years, you know, and it's it's a good thing to be able to pay that homage and respect back. You know, people like Gangster Nip, they're regulars on the show, K-Rino, of course. What was it like being around all those cats, you know what I'm saying, from the South Park Coalition? Because Bigtyme Recodz, you had a lot of guys that were aligned with the South Park Coalition.
Yeah. Man, it was actually great, man. I think, and when I think about people, you know, like from that era and people that I know, I mean, Murder One, K-Rino, much respect, man. Me and Murder One always chop it up. We really good friends. I mean, you know, those are real people, man. That's why the relationship are always going to be there. When you talk to them, it's never nothing fake. It's always we can laugh, joke, and, you know, unity. I go to, you know, that's when you'll see me out is at some of the SPC shows. You know, I don't really catch too much, but I will. When I'm out, it's always something for the SPC or something. I'll go out and, you know, show support and be there.
See, that's what I'm talking about. You know, it's good that all these years later you guys can all come together and just show that support and that unity. And, you know, that's a positive thing. Because the rap game right now, I think it's lacking the respect and it's lacking the unity that it had in that era. What do you think of the bullshit that's being played on the radio these days and how it's affecting the youth?
Oh man, it's trash. I tell my kids all the time. I said I don't even understand what y'all listening to. Honestly, man, I listen to talk radio when I'm in my truck. Every now and then somebody gives me something to listen to, and I'll listen to it. But not once I hit the truck, man, I'm always on the sports channel. Or every now and then I put in something I want to listen to. But the new stuff, I just don't understand, and I can't even comment on it because I don't even know what it is. I mean, the R&B guys, they like rappers. The rappers is like R&B guys, and it's, you know, exactly. I don't have a problem with a rapper singing, but it's the thing. Give me somebody who can really sing with it. You know, I like Future, but I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Yeah, I just don't understand how half of it even goes.
Yeah, that, and
I'm
then
the same way. Like when I'm in the ride,
see.
I'm the same way. If it ain't sports radio, I'm listening to episodes of these shows that we doing, and you know, bumping them old PSK-13s, you know, the K-Rinos, and you know, shit that I grew up off of. Because if I could relate to what they talking about, I don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah,
all party. What we got? How much I'm gonna drink tonight? Which bitch I'm gonna fuck with? You know, it's pointless music, man. A lot of that shit is pointless.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's like, where's the reality of it? You know, that's not every day of your life is not gonna be a party. You're gonna have that phase where it seems like you're really having a good time, but then the reality gonna set in. You're gonna be like, man, it's real now. What do I do? And you know, everybody goes through it, but the music, I mean, golly, I just, you know, I threw in the old Reckless playing. I'm thinking of hip hop blues, and it still touched me today like it did then.
Yeah.
It's like it's some real into it, you know. You can put on a lot of the old stuff and you're gonna feel something, man. I don't feel that when I listen to the new stuff.
The old shit would evoke emotion, and you know what I'm saying. It was shit you could relate to, like the song "I Wish." Everybody lost somebody, you know what I'm saying. So how can you not feel that shit? You know, at the end of the day. But you got these, and I'm looking around too, and I'm seeing all these kids being feminized. You know what I'm saying? You got the male youth wearing, clothes that you can't even tell what gender they're from. I mean, it's fucking crazy. It's like something in the air.
It's something crazy, man. I mean, when I grew up, my pops would go crazy if I had some pink on. The woman that I spent 20 years with, she don't want no dude wearing pink or close to pink. And my son one day was in the car with me, and we had a big discussion about the pink, man. My son jumped in the car with a backpack with some pink hearts on it. And I remember we was going through McDonald's line, and at the time I think my son was like 16. I said, man, look, so we don't get into it, I suggest that you just get out the car. I can't take it, this pink shit. I mean, I didn't try to talk to you about it, how I feel. He didn't understand it. He didn't live with me at the time, and, he lived with his mom, and she was all right with him wearing. I was like, that's not cool. It's not, you know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in that era. I'm not into that. There's plenty of other colors I can wear besides pink, or dresses and with all that crazy shit, man. It's weird. I mean, look at the basketball players. I mean, they call it fashion. I call it somebody else, your stylist, had you thrown off, man.
I call it cross-dressing. Yeah, that's all it is. Obviously,
but then, look who their stylists are, Yeah, the stylists they're pushing something else. Just letting them do it, but I'm not going to do it, man.
No, I'm with you.
You see me you saw me in 92 in T-shirts and some sweats. I'm in T-shirts and sweats today. That's what I wear. I got about 1,000 T-shirts, and they all dark colors. I might reach on a color, but I don't know if I'm going to wear it. But sometimes, everybody's, it's different. It's a different time, so I understand. They're going to try some different things. They think every youth got their own movement, but this is madness, man.
Yeah,
but I don't know how much longer it's going to last.
The stores now and try to buy shit. As people like us, we can't even buy shit at the regular stores because none of the shit fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's your size, it's cut to make, to squeeze you and shit like that. And I'm the same way like you. If my old dude would have even seen me, I remember years ago, my mother got my ears pierced and he flipped. You know what I'm saying? I took that shit right on out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just certain shit you didn't do as a man growing up in my household that it just carried on until when I got older, I started realizing why my folks was telling me not to do this or not to do that because I'm seeing that shit now.
Yeah. Yeah. And even some of the chicks back then that you would meet, I had an earring in my ear. I saw Jordan had an earring. I wanted an earring. I had a big hoop in my ear. My children's mother, we was over there, and she was like, come here, let me see something. Let me see your earring. And she took it out. And I never had another earring in my ear. And I was blessed to have a tough lady, and we spent a long time together. So it's like, she never mind to let me have it. But it was only certain things I was gonna do. That was probably the biggest reach I would have wearing my earring. But I don't. Some of this stuff they do, I just be like, wow, I just can't do it. Well, and me and my oldest son, we argue about it all the time.
I want to ask you about the relationship you guys had with No Limit Records because I think it was PSK, Blank, and 20 to Life was on the Down South Hustlers album. How did you hook up with Master P and No Limit Records?
It's kind of funny, man. One of our first promoters was Tavesta Scott, and later on, and years later, he kind of, he was working with Cash Money and he was working with No Limit, and actually before Mia X actually signed with No Limit, she was on. We had a first right of refusal contract on her because we was actually trying to do a Mia X project, but we didn't hold her because we figured that was a good deal for her too. So, we was like go. So we always had a great relationship with Tavesta, and so it was always like when they was doing Down South Hustlers, he put in the word and we got on there with Backstreets, and I don't remember, we had a couple of tracks on there. And it was actually it was a good deal, for us just to be on a record, a gold record. That's one of the things that just bugged me about, the whole 15 years was we were so close to maybe one day getting that gold record through Bigtyme independently. And I definitely think that third screw was going to do it, you know, if we were able to pull it off. I definitely think we would have.
That shit probably would have went a couple times platinum, man, for real.
Yeah, I mean, even if and if it would have just worked out, because actually when we had signed with Priority, they definitely wanted us. They wanted the screw, and they was gonna let us dig through the catalog. But I definitely think we would have got it. But it just wasn't meant to be, man. But we was blessed. You know, we had a song on Menace to Society. We had stuff on Down South Hustlers. We had some stuff that Dame Dash bought. I mean, we did a lot of stuff, man, and we did a lot of regional stuff. So, you know, I can't complain. You know, I never had a job, and I'm 45 years old, so I really can't complain.
Yeah. I've had several jobs, but I'm happy that I haven't had a job in many years because I got tired of being a slave. You know what I mean? I got tired of. But you got to do what you got to do. You know, you got to make the money.
Yeah,
you got to raise your kids. You know what I'm saying? But at the same
man,
token,
I tell people you're a slave even if you work your own business because you work 10 times the hours and you're never resting because you're thinking of the next thing and you're thinking of something that could make it better. You know, like all those things, adding the inserts into the thing and doing the DVDs and all the stuff, the parties. I mean, we was always working just trying to make the camp make some money. You know, and it's hard when you know, the worst feeling as an exec, you know, people would think is not. The worst feeling is when you do that royalty statement and you got to give a guy a little to nothing. That's the worst feeling in the world, man. It's especially someone that you close to, because at the end of the day, they not going to believe that that's all they got. That first thing going to come to their mind is, dang, I made more. But when you looking at the numbers, it's simple math. It's adding and subtracting, bro. This is the gross, this subtracting this, and this is your percentage. That's just it. And the numbers don't lie. That's one thing I always can tell people. The numbers don't lie. You can manipulate them, but it's so easy to backtrack it. The numbers cannot lie. If you do get a calculator, it's going to add up to the same number if it's right. And no matter, and even Bigtyme, we did something that a lot of labels don't do. We actually gave you every receipt in your royalty statement. You know, if I bought a piece of popcorn for you and I charged you for it, it was a receipt enough for popcorn. If I paid your rent, I gave you light bill, whatever I gave you, and at the end of the day, you still had the arguments. And then, you know, and you have to tell your guys, you know, I remember one instance was when I was giving Screw his royalties for 3 a.m, and it was me, Blank, and PSK in the car, and for some strange reason, they just wanted to know. They was like, I know it's big. What is it? And I remember I was like, nah, man, that's just something you don't talk about. You know, he did good. I'm just gonna say that. And I remember just seeing the happiness for the man because that was their boy too, but seeing the sadness, thinking like, dang, why can't I get a check like that? And then that was the part of me that felt bad too, saying these my dudes been with me all this time, and it didn't go that way for them on the checks like that. And you know, that was the part I wasn't ready for. And I can see how many CEOs be like, hey, deal with the accounting people, you know, that's their job. I don't do the numbers, you know, because, you know, you got to tell you, sometimes you got unhappy feelings. And then sometimes, even as the CEO, you think a record is going to do way better than what it does. And so you can be disappointed just like they can be disappointed.
Yeah.
You know, and I always tell people, I say it's hard. The radio makes us like tracks because in 24 hours we hear 26 songs all day long. So if you record an album, you can't listen to that all day, all night because your ears ain't going to be fresh. You're going to program yourself to love something. And when other people hear it, it's a sad feeling when they don't feel what you feel.
Right.
So I would always listen to it, put it up, bring it back out, listen to it, see if the feeling was still the same with me. So when I did start going to those confidants and saying, listen to this dude, I mean, people cannot believe when I tell them on UGK that I brought them the same album I put out. I brought it to my mom, I brought it to my dad, I brought it to my brother, I brought it to my best friends, and I could not get $1 anybody to invest. Not $1. Nobody believed it. Nobody believed it but me.
Yeah.
And that scared me to death because I was all in. You know, I was like, everything I had, I was in. All I was trying to do was get somebody to give me $1,000 to buy them some posters. Because as we was done, I was like, man, we need posters. I didn't think about that. There's no more money to get it. So I was like, man, I'm going to let somebody invest. And a dude I wasn't even close to was the first person. I let him hear the demo. I gave him the demo. He called me right back, said, come over here. He gave me $1,200. $1,200 he gave me. 60 days later, I gave him $17,800. So,
oh shit!
Yeah, it was a great investment of $1,000. Yeah, and it was no time, but he was.
That was for the UGK.
That was UGK off the Southern Way. Yeah. Man. It was like man, and even when we put the record out, man, you know, Southwest only bought the record from me. They took $200 as a favor. They even told me we weren't gonna buy into that record. We didn't see it, but we bought it as a favor to you. And then when they bought it, they bought $200. Then they called back 2 days later and bought $200 more. Then said, you know what, give us $500. And by the end, they was like, why don't you just give us $10,000? You know.
It just started taking off.
New and they got, man. Once it hit the radio, it was over. Once it really and that just happened from Jimmy O, man. It didn't happen from me. Reg and Effects came in my store, heard it, said, y'all give us a single. We did the single. They got in that contest. We couldn't win it because we already had a record. But Jimmy O was like, kept calling us, and when we finally got there, he said, man, he met me and Bun when the elevator opened, and he said, y'all lucky, man. One more day, I wasn't going to blow y'all up. And the only thing he asked us was weird. He said, man, y'all do me a show. And one day I'm going to call you, I need to do a show. And I remember driving up, me, Bun, and Pimp, and a couple more people. And we was like, well, who are all these people here to see? And we was doing it at 9.9, man. We've been doing shows, a few people, you know, but this show was wall to wall, man, like somebody real big was there, and it was Jimmy O's show, but he had blew us up. Then radio stations was calling, and then Dive was calling, Polygram was calling, and that's how the bidding war started to get them. But it was, you know, it was also the end of our friendship, but, you know, hey, like I said, you can't turn back.
No, but over the years, you said you mended it with Pimp-C. You were talking to him and stuff.
Oh yeah, man. At the end, me and Pimp was cool because, you know, we settled in actually 1998, and actually it was some stuff that was supposed to be. They were supposed to do some songs for me. We were supposed to do the band too, and it just never happened. And I remember at the end, Pimp was like, man, Russ, I'm going to do that. And I was always telling Pimp, I said, that's going to be my last record. You know, I'm already done, but that's going to be the last record that we do that's going to have the Bigtyme stamp on it. You know, and he was like, man, we're going to do it. And, you know, and I really feel like he was going to do it because he told people close to him that he was going to do it, but it just didn't happen. Yeah. But I was just glad that we made peace. I mean, it was a couple of months ago. Bun actually came in my store. He was filming, and he was giving me his number. But I had this dude. I do printing too at night. You know, I do printing flyers and business cards and stuff. And this dude kept blowing me up, and I thought I locked it in, but I never got to lock it in. He was like, man, I got you big time, anything you need. And actually a couple of years when I was in the hospital, Bun actually called me, you know. Oh, and I was shocked about that when I answered the phone, and he was like, yeah, man, the Bigtyme is Bun, you know. Because I was in intensive care for like 7 days. My kidney had started bleeding. Man. Everybody was calling, man. All kind of people was calling. It made me feel a lot better. I was real happy, man, that they did call. You know, everybody, yeah. PSK, blank, everybody was calling me.
Yeah, that had to have been a shock to get the call from Bun. I mean, that's amazing. You know.
Yeah, it really did shock me because it was like he could have easily sent a shout out through PSK or somebody, you know, but he actually called me himself, you know, and that made me feel real good, and I I was really shocked about that. But it's always been love when me and Bun see each other. We see each other out in every blue moon, you know, a car show or something. I'm there, I see Bun. It's always going to be the same, man.
Well, that's good. That's good after all these years that you guys could, meet each other on peaceful terms and whatnot. And, that's always good, especially when you're a father, like you were talking about earlier. When you're a father, you want peace. You don't want no bullshit with nobody.
Nah, man.
You're not looking to risk, what you have, and lose the freedom that you have. Because when you're out of your kids' lives, when you're not there to be able to help your children, man, they're really at the mercy of this world, And this world is a cold, callous bitch. That's for real.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. It's a tough world, and they gonna always need that. I mean, I'm an old dude, man, but I still call my old man at least 3 times a week, man, because I need that guidance. And then especially like now, I mean, here I am, I'm 45 years old, man, and I do not know what I want to do, and everybody that knows me know I've been talking about it for about 3 years. I have no clue what I want to do anymore. And this is the first time in my life ever since I was 16, I knew what I was going to do. And whenever one thing that I was doing didn't close, I was always on to the next thing. But this has been the first time ever that I've just, as far as business-wise, I just don't know what that next move is going to be. That's why anybody, like lately on Facebook, I've been really pushing the big-time stuff again, because if I know nothing else, I know I can sell. So I've been just focusing my energy on selling what I got right now.
Have you ever talked with like PSK and Blank and 20 to Life and everybody about doing like another Bigtyme Recodz compilation, just for the hell of it,
I think about it all the time, man, because that was actually supposed to be my retirement thing. I was like, I don't want to sign an artist, but I just want to work with people. But it's hard when you have a legacy that kind of is like, it's the big elephant in the room. People don't care that you haven't did a record since 2004, 10 years ago. All they know is you did a few that was going to hit. So you always got the hands out. It's like, so, you want me to give you a song? So what's in it for me? And that's one of the things, like, I know at the process, now if we did one and it did something, then of course you got everybody throwing you a track. But, I'm not up for going through that.
Yeah, I respect it. I respect that. You built you and the guys, built a huge legacy, and it's set in stone. It's not going anywhere. That's the good thing about it. And we were honored as hell to have you on the show tonight. I thank you for granting us this interview. We got another guest coming on in about 10 minutes, but I'm gonna go to a couple calls real quick. I'm gonna bring on South Carolina. This has got to be Mook. What's up, Mook?
Man, just soaking up game, man. Finding out how everything started. Texas made me take music serious, man. For real. Everything that came out of this state, man. I appreciate you big time. For real, bro.
Oh, man. No problem. We appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah, man. All the way out here in South Carolina. I guess you probably didn't know you were selling out here, but, man, look, man, we were stuck in a place where we couldn't get our voice heard, so we was just trying to hear everything from everybody to see how we can flex our own style into the game.
Yeah.
Man. So, just soaking up the game, man. I know he's gonna be on tonight. I told Prez like a week ago when he told me about it. I said, man, I'm gonna just listen and see what game the brother give up, man. So I appreciate you.
No, man. You can always hit me on Facebook, man. I have no problem telling people because nobody helps me, man. Anything I can help with, I always tell them. They know if they get me talking, I'm going to talk, man. I'm moody, so some days I don't talk. But when I'm talking, I'm talking.
I feel that. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Thanks a lot, Mook. Appreciate the support.
Yes, sir.
Go get Mook's album, you know what I'm saying, from what's it called, Mook? From the Streets to the Church?
Between the Street and the Church.
Not today, on iTunes. Get that.
Yeah, it's on iTunes right now. And I put it out there for cheap because I want people to listen to it. I ain't even trying to overtalk, but I feel sorry for the listeners. All this swagging shit they got to deal with. All these niggas wearing pink and blowing in LeBron ear, kissing on Michael Sam.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
It's that
different world. Yeah, I saw that. That was crazy.
Come on, man.
That's horrible.
But LeBron gonna give him what he want. The next game, LeBron gonna give him all he want. Believe me. If you win by 3 points and LeBron scores 7 and didn't play the whole game, you're in trouble this next game.
You're right about that.
It's definitely. They just wanted to end it in Miami. Believe me, they want to party at home.
Well, here we got another caller too. Thanks a lot, Mook. I'm gonna bring on area code 281. What's up? This gotta be Roderick. How you doing, brother?
Yo, what's up, Prince?
Man, you're from Houston yourself. What was it like seeing Bigtyme Recodz?
Man, big time, man. Let me tell you something, man. When I was younger, I see it's like just posters all everywhere with Bigtyme. UGK, the Southern Way Band. Man, Bigtyme, man, much respect to you, man, for real.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
You built the legacy like Rap-A-Lot, Swisher House. You built that legacy. Oh.
Yeah, we appreciate it, man.
Much respect, man.
Yeah, man, like it's crazy, man. Like Pimp-C, Bun-B, and you and Bigtyme found those, so that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, and all them other cats. You know, I mean, I recommend people go back and get that catalog. Do you still have the catalog available?
Yeah, pretty much of it is like we have original first pressings of some of them, but a lot of it is just second pressings. But we definitely, pretty much everything, all the screws is available, a lot of the blanks. I mean, pretty much everything is in there. And it may not all be at one time, but over the course of time, it all comes back. We buy some, sell them out. It definitely, we always keep most of the catalogs. So you can definitely get a complete picture of some of the works. I mean, it's all there.
And
That's one thing I do keep it in.
If people want to get a hold of that material, if they're in Houston, what's the best place to get it at?
Oh man, you can come right over to Bigtyme Recodz store in Kings Flea Market, man. Been there 24 years, man. We still there till the day it closes. And if not, you can get it on every Bigtyme album is on iTunes. Every last one of them. iTunes, any of the downloads, we definitely up there.
Well, that's good to know that, a whole generation of these kids have got a whole bunch of game they can soak up. I want to thank you again for coming on this show. You're welcome here anytime, Bigtyme.
Man, thank you, man, for even having me. I'm definitely honored.
We appreciate it, and again, I know it's rare that you even grant interviews, so we feel very humble about this. So, thank you. You take care of yourself. We'll get up with you real soon. And right now I'm gonna go to a break. We're gonna play this is one of my favorite songs off of Bigtyme Recodz. It's the Recordz Clan, I Wish. Very, very heartfelt song, man. Anybody that lost somebody, you got no choice but to feel this. When we come back, we should have Big Hutch, aka Cole 187 from Above the Law. So stick around.
Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also go over to UGSforLife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.